Sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and can even keep you from getting the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS. Welcome to the No BS Sales School podcast. I've been coaching a bunch of my clients lately, as I do most of the time. And one of the things that I've noticed, especially with my new clients, is that a lot of them are putting up with a bunch of bullshit on sales calls they shouldn't have to put up with, right? Some mistakes that they're making on sales calls. And really, it's just understanding the parameters of what things should be. So I'm just going to lay out 5 things I've come across in the last week that people are screwing up on their sales calls. Maybe one of these relates to you. I'd be curious. Let me know if this has happened to you. Number 1, assuming you have to, quote, sharpen your pencil to get the damn deal done, right? When somebody says, you better watch your price, or we've got a lot of competition here, you better watch your price, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's the thing. A lot of times you won't believe this. People lie, right? If you find out what someone's pain is, right? Not just a problem, but what the consequences of that problem are and the personal impacts of that problem, price will not be the main issue. If you have failed to find someone's pain, then price does become more of an issue or can become more of an issue. But don't assume you've got to be low or even to cut your price. If somebody says, well, you're high, you might want to say, well, how high? And you might say, and that means, right? Don't assume that means they're not going to buy because your price is high. Don't worry about sharpening your pencil. Worry about what their pain is, and are you the right person to solve it? Number 2, and this one's big. A mistake people make is putting up with bad behavior from your prospect. Putting up with bad behavior. And what I mean by that is they act like assholes, right? They're argumentative, they're combative, they're rude. Here's what I want you to do if you end up dealing with a combative, rude, or argumentative prospect. I want you to say very calmly and firmly, sir, you don't have to talk. Or no, I'm going to say, sir, please don't talk to me that way. Are you okay if we have a civil conversation? Please don't talk to me that way. Are you okay if we have a civil conversation? Now, if this escalates, feel free to walk out. Thank you. I tell you what, let's talk maybe when you're having a better day, or let's talk better at a better time, right? Walk away. You do not have to put up with asshole prospects. A lot of times if people are rude to you, right, and they've come back to you, they've been rude to you a couple times in a row, well, I'm going to tell you that's your fault. You've let them learn that it's okay to do that. So next time you might say, please don't talk to me that way. Or how about let's take a deep breath. I'll come back in 5 minutes and let's have a better discussion then. Again, if that escalates the conversation, don't come back in 5 minutes. Just keep walking. You don't want to deal with that asshole. I promise. Not worth it. Number 3, I just got this one this morning. One of my clients said, this guy sent me 22 questions he wants me to answer in writing before he'll meet with me again. I said, hey, man, that's great. Just don't meet with him again. No way. You do not have to do that bullshit, right? So I want you to answer 22 questions. I've had this shit done to me before, too, where somebody says, I want to talk to 10 references. I was like, yeah, all right. And I said, you want good ones or bad ones? And he said, I want 5 of both. Okay, how about this? None, right? Let's move on. You don't want this, right? Maybe they have a ridiculous process. I had one guy that I was talking to, he wanted to meet with me. He said, we're going to meet at least 10 times. And before we meet, you're going to drive up here to meet me at my home office, which was 400 miles from where I live. And, we're going to sit down. We're not going to talk about price until the very end, and you better be prepared. And he didn't want to answer any questions. What the hell? What are we going to meet 10 times about if he's not going to answer any damn questions? He wanted me to send him all of my shit so he could decide if it was good or not. I told him I'd save him a whole bunch of time. I'm not sending him anything. Sounds like it wasn't going to be the right fit. right? Here's another one that bums me out, really pisses me off. This happens to people. We're not going to answer any of your questions. We're going to tell you what we want. Well, F you. We're not doing that. Who the hell do you think you are? Remember, we have equal business stature with our prospects. If somebody's treating you this way in the beginning of your sales process, guess how they're going to treat you when you become when they're a client of yours? These are red flags. It is not worth it. It is not worth it. Put up with this shit, especially when they're giving you these red flags at the very beginning. Here's number 4. Sometimes one of the mistakes we make is we get too intimidated to ask the hard questions, right? We're too afraid because we might make them mad. Or what if we bring something up that doesn't help us? What if it's like, they're already working with somebody else and you're afraid to ask, or you don't ask, hey, why in the world are you talking to me? What's going on with the other company? Why wouldn't you just renew with them? Why wouldn't you just buy from them again? Seems like you've worked with them for a long time. I want you to understand the tone in which I ask these questions. This is not being rude. It's being sincerely curious, right? All along, I want to be sincerely curious. Man, I appreciate your talking to me. I'm happy to have this conversation, but you're already working with ABC company. Why in the world would you want to talk to me? What were you hoping I could do that they're not already doing? Right? You can begin to learn what's really going on. Right? You might say, if you know you're going to be more expensive, hey, look, we're going to be more expensive. Is there any reason you want to keep talking to us? The last thing in the world I want to do is waste your time. Right? If there's going to be a problem, bring it up at the beginning. Don't wait till the end of your 7th call. Right? Or let's pretend you work for a small company, right? Somebody like mine, right? I've got, we do whatever revenue, got X number of people, just it's me and half a dozen other part-time people, right? And if I'm talking to a giant company, I might say, you know what? Listen, I'm a little company. Y'all are a multinational, multi-billion-dollar company. Are you sure you'll be able to get permission or that you'll be able to hire a small company like mine, right? If something's going to come up, bring it up at the beginning, because if it's not going to work, how much time do you want to waste there? Right? A lot of prospects too will admire your boldness for bringing up the problem. One of the things I preach over and over and over again is nobody can tell that you're better till they see that you're different. And one of the ways you can be different is being completely transparent, telling the truth all the time, right? And being willing to challenge, being willing to say no. All right, the last thing, and I think it's one of the most important things where we screw up our calls, is we're not agreeing at the beginning of the meeting, not coming to an agreement with our prospect about what we're going to be deciding yes or no on today, right? At the beginning of your meeting, and there's a process to this, but you might say, do you mind if we figure out whether or not it makes sense for us to work together? What that means is you sign a contract, you write us a check, right? Anything less than you're thinking that's a great idea at the end of this meeting, let's call it a no. I'm not asking somebody to tell me yes. I don't think yes is the right answer a lot of the time. Also, when you ask somebody to tell you yes, will you tell me yes if I do this? No. Then you sound like a cheese ball. You're also taking away your customer's agency, right? Nobody wants to be trapped. What I want you to do is at the beginning of the call, maybe get permission to say, hey, listen, if I don't think we're going to be the right fit, do you mind if I'm just straight with you and tell you so? Right? Most of the time, they'll give you a sigh of relief and say, of course. God, that'd be great. And then say, do you mind doing the same for me? I mean, if at any given point you don't think I'm the right fit, do you mind just saying, no, thanks? I promise you won't hurt my feelings. I won't even try and change your mind. Right? That's the honest to God's truth. I will not try and change your mind. Right? But on the other hand, we could figure out that maybe there is something here. And typically at the end of a meeting like this, we're deciding whether or not whether we start working together, which typically means you would sign a contract and give me a check. Would you be comfortable making a decision like that by the end of our meeting today? If they say no, you say, well, other times we're deciding whether or not we have a second meeting and bring the right people or more people into the room. Maybe then at this meeting, you could decide whether or not you would endorse them meeting with me, with you next time, right? Would you be okay doing that? Got to get an agreement to agree or not to say yes or no to something at the end of the sales call. That allows them to ask the right questions to know what they need to know to get that answered. Also allows you to ask the right questions that you need to know to be able to tell them yes or no. When everybody knows what the decision is, everybody can figure out what they need to know to make that decision. If you have no agenda and there's nothing we're deciding yes or no on, then the conversation can just go anywhere, and you'll often find yourself doing a bunch of free consulting and giving away stuff you have no business giving away at this time in the sales process. You want to know more? I've got this course, the No BS Sales School course that I made 2 years ago, that describes my entire sales process. This is a way you can kind of stick your toe in the water and learn more about what we do around here at No BS Sales School. You can go to my website, walkermckay.com. There's a link at the very top that says buy the No BS Sales School course. If you go to the website and click on that course, there'll be a place to put in a coupon code. If you put in the code podcast, you get a discount down to $850. I think that's like a $600 or $700 discount. So if you go to walkermckay.com, click on buy the course, and then put in a coupon code podcast, your price is $850, which is, I think it's $500 or $600 or $700 less than the retail price. It's a great way to learn about what we do around here and another step forward. I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being a part of this. Share it with somebody who needs to know.
Thanks for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast. If you haven't already, please take 1 minute to write a quick review for the show. It really does make a huge difference. Also, subscribe to the show and please forward this episode to somebody else who needs to hear it. As a bonus for listening, I'm going to give you access to a free mini course, 7 expensive sales mistakes you're making and what you can do about it. Go to www.7salesmistakes.com and get access to the free mini course. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.